The morning sun glittered across Lake Serenity like scattered diamonds. Marcus Reynolds stood at the water's edge in worn waders, casting his fly rod with the easy rhythm of a man who'd done this every Saturday for 20 years. At 42, he was broad-shouldered, salt and pepper beard neatly trimmed, wearing an old Howard University hoodie under his fishing vest. The lake was his. Every acre of water, every blade of grass on its banks, every overpriced colonial-style house ringing the shoreline, 37 of them, belonged to Reynolds Properties LLC, the company he'd quietly built after selling his fintech startup for 9 figures. He never advertised the fact. Most residents of Serenity Shores assumed the absentee landlord was some faceless corporation in Delaware. That fiction had worked perfectly until Karen Whitmore strode down the manicured path like she owned the place, which, in her mind, she absolutely did. Karen was 53, Pilates-toned, highlighted blonde, hair pulled into a visor that cost more than most people's car payments. She clutched her phone like a grenade. "Excuse me," she barked, voice slicing through birdsong. "This is a private lake. You can't fish here." Marcus didn't turn around. He stripped line, let the fly drift. "I said—" She stepped closer, Louis Vuitton sneakers sinking into the mud. "This community has rules. No trespassing. No loitering. I'm going to have to ask you to leave before I call security." Marcus finally faced her, calm brown eyes meeting her furious blue ones. "Morning, ma'am. Beautiful day for catching bass, isn't it?" "Don't ma'am me. I know every homeowner here, and you are not one of them. I've already taken your picture." She waved her phone triumphantly. "License plate, too. The police are on their way." Marcus smiled, the kind of smile that didn't reach the eyes. "You sure about that, Karen?" "It's Mrs. Whitmore to you." She tapped her manicured nail on the screen. "Yes, hello, officer? There's a man fishing on private property at 142. Lake Serenity Drive. He's refusing to leave. African-American, mid-40s, gray Honda Accord." Marcus just reeled in slowly, letting her dig. 2 patrol cars arrived within 8 minutes, lights flashing. Officer Ramirez stepped out first, hand resting casually near his holster. "Ma'am, you called about a trespasser?" Karen pointed like she was identifying a criminal in a lineup. "That's him. He's been here 20 minutes, ignoring my warnings." Ramirez looked at Marcus. "Sir, can I see some ID?" Marcus reached slowly into his vest, pulled out his wallet, and handed over his driver's license. Karen folded her arms, smug. Ramirez glanced at the ID, then at Marcus. "Mr. Reynolds, you own this property?" Karen's smile froze. Karen's arms dropped like someone had cut the strings. "Own," she repeated, the word tasting wrong in her mouth. "No, that's impossible." "The HOA owns the lake. We all pay dues for exclusive access." Officer Ramirez handed Marcus's license back with a small nod of recognition. He'd grown up 2 towns over. Everyone in the county knew the Reynolds name from the business pages, even if they'd never seen the man himself. "Ma'am," Ramirez said, turning to Karen, "Mr. Reynolds' company holds the deed to the lake and the surrounding lots. Always has. The HOA leases the common areas from him. It's in your covenants, page 47. Karen blinked rapidly. "The way people do when the script suddenly changes languages. There must be some mistake. I've lived here 12 years. We vote on everything. We have rules." Marcus finally spoke, voice low and even. "You do have rules. I just never enforced most of them because I don't live here. I like my privacy. But fishing on my own lake before 8 a.m., that's allowed. Always has been." The second officer, a younger guy named Patel, was already scrolling through his tablet. "Confirmed. Reynolds Properties LLC, recorded 2008. No restrictions on owner access. Technically, ma'am, you're the one who doesn't have a right to bar him." Karen's face cycled through 3 shades of red. "This is outrageous. Do you know how much we pay in HOA fees?" "We have standards!" Marcus unhooked a small largemouth bass, gently released it back into the water. "You pay me," he said without looking up. $7,000 a year per household. Goes straight to Reynolds Properties. I use it for lake maintenance, the fountain you all love, and the goose repellent you demanded last spring." The officers exchanged a glance that said they'd rather be anywhere else. Karen's voice climbed an octave. "You can't just show up whenever you want. People have children. What if someone saw you and felt unsafe?" Marcus finally met her eyes again. "Unsafe doing what exactly? Catching fish I stocked myself?" Ramirez cleared his throat. Mrs. Whitmore, filing a false report is a misdemeanor. We're not citing you this time. But please confirm ownership before calling us again. He tipped his hat to Marcus. Sorry for the trouble, sir. Have a good morning. As the cruisers pulled away, Karen stood rooted, phone dangling uselessly at her side. Marcus began packing his rod. Enjoy the rest of your walk, Mrs. Whitmore. She opened her mouth, closed it, then opened it again. This isn't over. Marcus smiled for real this time. It never is. By noon, the Serenity Shores Facebook group was on fire. Karen had posted a 30-second video shot from her Ring camera of Marcus standing calmly while police arrived. The caption read, "Caught this man trespassing and fishing in our lake this morning. Even after police confirmed he claims to own everything, he refused to leave. Is this the kind of person we want around our children? Thoughts?" Within minutes, the comments exploded. Some residents recognized Marcus from old Forbes covers. Others Googled Reynolds' properties and found the county tax records. A few diehards rallied behind Karen. We pay for exclusivity. Most, however, began to panic about whose side they'd been on for the last decade. Marcus sat in his actual home, 10 miles away, behind a gate most of them couldn't afford to look at, eating a turkey sandwich and watching the chaos on his phone with mild amusement. His assistant, Lena, texted him screenshots every 30 seconds. Lena, they're forming a committee. Marcus, of course they are. Lena, Karen wants an emergency HOA meeting tonight. Marcus, perfect. At 7 p.m. sharp, 37 households crammed into the clubhouse. Karen stood at the podium in a blazer the color of rage. Thank you for coming on short notice, she began. We have a serious breach of community standards. A stranger, yes, stranger, deed or no deed, has been granted police protection to harass residents on private property. Tom Chen from Lot 12 raised his hand. Karen, he literally owns the ground we're standing on right now. Lease to us, Karen snapped. We have rights. The side door opened. Marcus walked in wearing the same hoodie from that morning, carrying a banker's box. Conversation died instantly. Good evening, he said, placing the box on the table. Since you called a meeting about me, I figured I'd save everyone the lawyer fees. He opened the lid and began laying documents like a dealer with aces. Original plat from 2007, my signature, lake deed. Every lot sale marked subject to lake easement in favor of grantor. That's me. Your bylaws, which I approved. And finally, he held up a thick packet. The lease agreement your HOA signed in 2011. 30-year term. Renewable at my sole discretion. He let that settle. Karen gripped the podium until her knuckles went white. You've never attended a meeting. You don't live here. You have no right to... I have every right, Marcus cut in gently. I just never used it. Until today, the clubhouse was so quiet you could hear the ice melting in Karen's abandoned. Diet Coke. Marcus leaned against the table, arms folded. Here's the short version. I don't want to live here. I built this place as an investment, nothing more. You all wanted a gated lily-white HOA-ruled bubble. I was happy to sell it to you. I even let you run it like your own little fiefdom because most of your rules were harmless. But the second you weaponized the police against me on my own land, the game changes. He pulled one final sheet from the box, an email printout. This is the motion. Karen sent the board last year demanding the lake be declared resident only. No outside guests ever. You all voted. Yes, congratulations. You just voted to ban the owner. A nervous laugh rippled through the back row. Marcus continued. Starting tomorrow, I'm exercising my rights under paragraph 19B. Full access, all common areas, anytime I choose. I'll be fishing every Saturday. My nephews will be swimming every Sunday. My sister's cookout is July 4th. You're all invited. Bring a side dish. Karen found her voice. You can't just... This is intimidation! No, Marcus said. This is consequences. He turned to the room. Your dues aren't going up. The fountain stays. The goose crap will still be power washed. Nothing changes except one thing. The next person who calls the cops on me, my family or any guest I bring will receive a formal notice of lease violation. 3 of those and I terminate your HOA's lease. The bank will love for closing on 37 underwater. McMansions with no lake access. Dead silence. Then Tom Chen started clapping. Slowly, others joined. Not for Karen. Karen looked like she'd been slapped with a fish. Marcus picked up his empty box. Meeting adjourned. Karen, you're welcome to keep the podium. I never liked it anyway. He walked out into the warm night. A dozen residents followed him onto the porch. Mr. Reynolds, Tom called. What kind of beer for the cookout? Marcus grinned for the first time all day. Whatever's cold, brother. Lake's big enough for everybody. Behind him, Karen stood alone under the clubhouse lights, clutching her blazer like a life vest in a ship that had already sunk. The king had returned to his kingdom, and he wasn't leaving again.